Hey everyone, this is Rima's Culinary Adventures and today we are making gluten-free almond cookies. This dish requires very few ingredients, one of which are egg whites. Here we want to whip our egg whites into stiff peaks, so we gotta be very careful and ensure that our bowls are clean and that none of the egg yolks get in there with the egg whites. I find it quite easy to just crack the egg along the equator and then pour everything into my clean hand, let the egg whites drain through my fingers and place the egg yolk in a separate bowl. I absolutely would not discard the egg yolks here. This is the holiday season and I'm really looking forward to making some lemon curd or some custard with them. Also, I'm using medium eggs here. We want about 105 to 110 grams of egg whites here. With our eggs separated, now it's time to prepare our ground almonds. Usually, I would use store-bought ground almonds for this recipe, but today I'm going to grind some of my almonds at home using a food processor. Now, pulse the almonds in bursts of 10 seconds until they break down into smallish pieces. Don't leave the processor running for very long, otherwise the almonds will turn into almond butter, which we want to avoid at all costs. Now pour all of the broken almonds into a sieve and pass all of the finely ground almonds into a bowl. The idea here is to ensure that we don't pulse the almonds for too long because we don't want the almond oils to separate from the almond meal here. Once you've passed through all of the finely ground almonds, pour all of the coarse pieces back into the food processor and repeat the process till most of your almonds are ground finely. Depending on the strength of your food processor, you may find that the last few tablespoons of almonds don't grind finely at all. Don't worry about them, just add them to your mix. It won't affect the texture of your cookies whatsoever. So as you can see, we can very easily make this dish with whole almonds, provided you have a food processor, or you can use store-bought ground almonds if that's available to you. Now preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius fan and weigh out the rest of your ingredients. Here we have 250 grams of caster sugar, which I've mixed in with my almonds. Now I add in some orange zest. This is my favorite flavor for these cookies, but you can use anything that you like. You can use some lemon zest, vanilla, cinnamon, mixed spices, anything that you prefer. Here, make sure that you use only the zest and none of the white rind underneath, as that will add a bit of flavor which will be quite unpleasant. Now mix well until everything is well distributed and set aside for later. Now it's time to whip up my egg whites. Here I washed and dried off my whisk attachment properly. I don't want any grease in there. I want my eggs to whip up to its maximum volume. Leaving your egg whites at room temperature also helps with that. Now with the egg whites whisked, it's time to add the rest of the ingredients and bring together my cookie dough. Here we want to ensure that everything is well combined. You can actually be a little heavy-handed with it. Here the idea is to combine everything well. Here it will definitely look like all of the air has been knocked out of the egg whites, but that's fine. Your cookies will bake perfectly regardless. Also, you can see that the dough is fairly tight. To achieve this, you want to use medium eggs, but in a second I'll share with you what to do if you end up with a softer dough. Now, dust your work surface with some icing sugar and plop all of the cookie dough on it. We are looking to get 16 evenly sized cookies here, so I'm going to first cut them out into 4 pieces and then portion each piece into 4 more evenly sized pieces. Now with your cookie doughs portioned, it's time to roll them out and coat them generously in some icing sugar. This is quite a rustic cookie, so a little bit of cracks here and there are perfectly fine. Just try and get them as round as possible and coat them in icing sugar. Here I have plain icing sugar, but you can spike it with some cocoa powder or some cinnamon powder, whatever you fancy really, and place them on a baking sheet that you've lined with some parchment paper. As you can see, the dough is quite tight, so they won't spread much. But if you end up with a softer dough, probably because you used some vanilla extract or your eggs were slightly larger in size, don't worry, they will taste just as delicious. Just ensure that you leave enough room around them so that they can spread as much as they'd like. With all of your cookies rolled out, gently press an almond at the center of the cookie to give it that thumbprint cookie look, or press in a tablespoon or so of flaked almonds to cover the entire cookie. Here, just ensure that all the almond flakes are flat on the cookie and nothing sticking out, otherwise those pieces could burn. Now bake your cookies at the center of the oven for about 18 to 22 minutes at 160 degree fan. Once baked, you should be able to move them off the parchment paper. A perfectly baked cookie should be lovely and golden. They should look cracked and have a lovely set, crisp bottom Do you see how lovely that is? That gives this cookie a lovely crisp bite, and the inside is soft, fudgy, chewy, just absolutely delicious. These chewy almond cookies make great edible gifts, and they stay absolutely fresh in an airtight container for up to 7 days. So try them and enjoy. Please like, subscribe and comment if you like this recipe. Thanks for watching and have a happy day.